It was the summer of '69. Memphis. The air was thick and hot like usual, but inside this particular studio, American Sound Studio, something special was happening. Something important. A legendary artist was there, trying to get his mojo back. He'd been through a lot. Years of movies, movies that didn't really let him be himself. He'd just had a big TV special, a comeback show, and it lit a fire in him. He wanted to make real music again. He wanted to feel it. He chose American Sound for a reason. This place was different. It wasn't Hollywood. It wasn't Nashville, exactly. This was Memphis. Raw, real. And the producer here, Chips Moman, he was a force of nature. Moman was a hit maker. He had a way of getting the best out of people, but he also had strong opinions. Very strong opinions. He wasn't afraid to tell anyone, even a global superstar, if he thought an idea was bad. And that's exactly what he did. The artist, he came into these sessions with a lot of hope and a lot of pressure. His career was on the line in a way. He needed a hit. He needed to prove he was still the man. He also needed to prove it to himself. He wanted to record songs that meant something to him, songs that connected to his roots. That felt authentic. The band Moman put together was incredible. They were called the Memphis Cats. Seasoned pros. They played everything: soul, blues, country, rock. They just knew how to make a record sound good. They were the kind of guys who could pick up on a vibe instantly. They worked fast. They didn't waste time, and they weren't easily intimidated. They'd seen it all. They respected the artist, of course. Who wouldn't? But they also respected Moman. It was a good setup, a powerful mix of talent and personality. The first few days, things went great. There was a real buzz. The artist was singing his heart out. He was exploring new sounds and rediscovering old ones. He felt comfortable. He felt like he was among friends, or at least among people who understood music like he did. Moman was steering the ship, picking songs, pushing tempos, shaping arrangements. He had a clear vision. He wanted this artist to sound contemporary, relevant. He wanted songs that would blast onto the charts, and he was getting them, song after song. The sessions were magic. Everyone felt it. But then, as often happens when creative people get together, ideas started to clash. The artist had a history, a long, rich history, and he had a lot of songs in his head. Songs he'd loved and played for years. Songs that were part of his DNA. Moman, though, he was always looking forward. He wanted new, he wanted fresh, he wanted to shed the past, especially the recent less than stellar past. He wanted a clean break. The artist, he was finding his voice again, he was feeling more confident, more like the boss. After years of being told what to do by movie executives and managers, he was ready to call some shots himself. He trusted Moman mostly, but he also had his own instincts, and his instincts were telling him to revisit some of the old stuff, the raw stuff, the kind of music he grew up on, the kind of music that really defined him before all the glitz. So, one night, late in the session, the artist brings up a song. It was an old number. A real throwback. He'd performed it before, even on that TV comeback special. It was a wild, bluesy, rockabilly kind of tune. Fast. Full of energy. It was a song that let him cut loose. He mentioned it kind of casually at first. Hey, what about trying that old number? You know the one. The Cat song. Moman stopped. He looked up. His expression hardened. You could see the thought cross his face. Are you serious? He didn't want anything old. He didn't want anything that reminded people of the past that he was trying to erase. He wanted progression. He wanted radio hits. This song, in his mind, was a novelty. A step backward. A bad idea. No, Moman said flatly. No room for discussion. No sugarcoating, just a blunt, definitive no. He wasn't one for beating around the bush. The artist was surprised. He hadn't expected such a quick, sharp rejection. He'd been feeling good, feeling like he was really contributing. He felt like his ideas were valuable. He'd built up a certain level of trust, he thought. To have an idea dismissed so quickly, so rudely, it stung. It brought back all those years of being told what to do, what to sing, what to wear. He didn't like it one bit. What, do you mean no? The artist asked, his voice getting a little edge to it. It's a good song. People love it. It's real. Moman shook his head. He didn't even look at the artist directly at first. He just kind of waved his hand dismissively. That's not what we're doing here. We're making hit records. We're making new music. That's old. That's filler. It doesn't fit. That word, filler, really hit a nerve. Filler. This was his music. This was part of who he was. For Moman to call it filler felt like a direct insult. It felt like Moman was questioning his judgment, his taste, even his very identity as a musician. The artist had spent years trying to get back to this feeling, this authenticity. And here was someone telling him it was just filler. The Atmosphere in the control room and out in the studio got really thick. You could feel the tension. The air just went still. The musicians, they were usually buzzing, joking, playing. Now, they were quiet, they watched, they knew this was a moment, a real power struggle. "It's not filler," the artist said, his voice rising now. He wasn't asking anymore. He was stating he was challenging. "It's a great song, and I want to do it." Momin turned fully to face the artist. He had that stubborn look on his face. He wasn't backing down. He rarely did. "Look, we've got a good thing going here. We're making an important album. We don't need some old novelty tune messing it up. It's not going on the record. Period." The artist felt the blood rush to his head. He felt disrespected. He felt challenged. And he was not used to being challenged like this. Not in his own recording session, especially not after everything he'd been through to get back to this point. He was the biggest star in the world. He was the guy. And this producer, this very talented, very blunt producer, was telling him no, like he was a kid. "I said I want to do it," the artist boomed. His voice was loud now, echoing a little in the room. He took a step forward. He was a big guy. He had a presence. And when he got angry, you knew it. His eyes narrowed. His jaw tightened. He looked like he was ready for a fight. Not just an argument, but a real physical confrontation. Momin, to his credit, didn't flinch. He was just as stubborn. He took a step forward, too. They were standing face to face now, almost nose to nose. Their breaths mingling in the heavy studio air. Two strong, unyielding men, both passionate about music, both convinced they were right. One, the legendary performer, fighting for his soul. The other, the master producer, fighting for his vision of a comeback. "You're not doing it," Momin hissed, his voice low but filled with steel. "Not in my studio. Not on this record." The band members shifted uncomfortably. They loved both these guys. They admired their talent. They didn't want to see this go south. They wanted to make music, not mediate a brawl. There was a moment there, a very long moment, where everyone in the room held their breath. You could practically hear the tension humming. It felt like a live wire, about to spark. It really looked like punches were about to be thrown. Two titans, squaring off. The whole session, the whole comeback, could have imploded right then and there. No one spoke. No one moved. The air was thick with unspoken words, with raw emotion. It was a standoff. Who would blink first? Who would back down? The artist, who had so much to prove, who felt so deeply about this one song, or the producer, who was trying to guide a legend back to the top of the charts, with his own uncompromising vision. The artist stared hard at Momin. He saw the resolve in Momin's eyes. He saw that Momin wasn't just trying to be difficult. Momin genuinely believed this was a bad idea, but the artist also felt his own conviction. He knew, deep down, that this song mattered. It was a part of him. After what felt like an eternity, but was probably only a few seconds, one of the musicians, maybe Reggie Young on guitar, or Bobby Emmons on organ, made a small sound. A clearing of the throat, a nervous tap on a guitar, just enough to break the spell a little. To remind them where they were. What they were there for. The artist took a slow, deep breath. He didn't back down. Not exactly, but he changed his approach. Just let me try it," he said, his voice still firm, but a little less explosive. Just one take. If it's no good, then fine. We ditch it. But just let me try, please." It was a plea almost, but a powerful one. It was the artist appealing to the shared love of music, to the spirit of experimentation that should be in a studio, and it was a compromise. In a small opening. Momin looked at the artist, he saw the genuine emotion there. He saw the artist wasn't just being stubborn for the sake of it, he truly wanted this. And Momin, for all his gruffness, respected that kind of passion. He also respected the artist's immense talent. And maybe, just maybe, he thought there was a slim chance the artist could pull it off. Make this old song sound new again, he sighed. It was a heavy sigh full of exasperation, but also resignation. "Alright," Momin said, still gruff. "One take. But if it's no good, it's done." And we move on. The artist gave a slight nod. A small victory. He knew he had to deliver. He couldn't just do a mediocre job now. He had to make it undeniable. The tension slowly started to ease. The band members exchanged glances. A collective exhale. They picked up their instruments. Momin went back into the control room, still looking skeptical, but allowing it. The artist stepped up to the microphone. He looked at the band, he counted it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he just unleashed. He sang that song with every fiber of his being. He poured all that pent-up frustration, all that desire for authenticity, all that raw emotion from the near fight straight into the performance. The band, sensing the moment, played with an incredible fire. They knew this was more than just another song. This was the song that almost tore the session apart, and they made it roar. The music exploded out of the speakers. It was fast, furious, bluesy, rockabilly, all rolled into one. The artist's voice was powerful, gritty, full of conviction. He growled. He snarled. He gave it everything he had. The band locked in perfectly, a tight, wild groove, and it was electric. When the last note rang out, there was a stunned silence in the control room. Moman just sat there, listening to the playback. His face was unreadable for a moment. He expected it to be bad. He expected to say, "I told you so," but it wasn't bad. It was incredible. It was raw, yes, but it was also vibrant. It was alive. It was the sound of the artist truly being himself, uninhibited. He still didn't love the idea of the song fitting on the album, but he couldn't deny the performance. It was undeniable. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated musical magic, born directly out of conflict and stubbornness. Moman just shook his head again, a slight, almost imperceptible smile playing on his lips. "All right," he grumbled, but this time there was a different tone to his voice. A tone of respect, a tone of grudging admiration. "All right, keep it." And that was it. That was the moment. The song made it onto the album. It might not have been the biggest single, but it became a fan favorite. It was a testament to the artist's raw power, to his roots. And it was a testament to the fact that even two incredibly strong-willed people, when pushing against each other, can sometimes create something truly extraordinary. It showed that the artist was back, not just in terms of hits, but in terms of his spirit. He was fighting for his music, and sometimes that fight is what makes the music real. The song that almost ended those legendary sessions in a fistfight, the one that showed everyone that the artist was still a force to be reckoned with, was called Tiger Man.